So if you're someone who's built success that everyone else envies, but inside you're wondering, what the hell went wrong? Well, this is for you. And it's not a keynote, although I have delivered this as a keynote once before. It's not a how-to guide, it's not a pitch, and well, basically it's just a real story from someone, me, who has built a version of freedom only to realize it was just another prison in disguise that just kept me trapped. And I'm sharing this not because I've figured it all out, but because I've lived both sides of the reality. If you're someone that is secretly asking, well, is this all there is? I want to offer you a different lens. So let's go there. Let's talk about escapism and escape in general. What happens when you finally stop running? And if this is your first time tuning in, well, my name is Daniel, and the title of my talk is called Face It, You're Fucked Finding Freedom. Nice to meet you. If you're finding value in this story, I'd love to invite you to hit the subscribe button. You'll be the first to receive more content just like this, honest, relevant, and here to support you on your journey. With every like, every follow, every comment, together we are succeeding in our mission and reconnecting the world with what matters most. And that's with, of course, each other. Thank you so much. So now, before we begin, quick disclaimer. Yes, I am a professional in personal leadership facilitation. Now, does that mean I've got all my shit figured out? No, of course not. It doesn't mean that I've transcended the occasional meltdown on life. And in fact, my Bulgarian fiance will often look at me during one of those occasional meltdowns and she'll say, Daniel, go personal leadership yourself. Well, I believe I deserve it because this work isn't something that you master. I believe it's a practice. It's a forever journey. And it's sweaty, sometimes ugly. It's always real. It's definitely challenging. This is something we call life. So everything I share here with you today, and actually all my videos, yeah, it's for you as much as it is for me. This is a reminder, it's a confession, it's a mirror of who it is that we are and who it is that you're becoming. So, scene one, the origin story of a professional escapist. Circa 2008, I was a young, rebellious, and early 20s kind of guy. I had no intentions of becoming a motivational speaker, a coach, or anything of the sorts. I just wanted one thing, and that was to be a snowboard bum. And why? Well, so I could skip university, avoid a career, sidestep this whole being an adult kind of nonsense. And I got creative. I worked illegally in the United States. I got caught. I ended up in jail and I was deported. Still haven't seen the Grand Canyon, by the way. So naturally, I decided, well, the way to fix this was to go to San Diego through a university exchange program from New Zealand. Because, logic, bit of one of these to the Homeland Security. But this is just who I am. I'm a non-conformist at heart. I am a full-time escape artist, an Olympic level avoider of responsibility, reality, and anything that felt like it might be putting me into a box in the way that I should or could be living. And around this time, it was when Wi-Fi started to become a thing. Smartphones, digital work, backpackers making money while sipping coconuts on the beach. I suddenly saw the dream. The dream was born. The work from anywhere. The life no one else had. To find freedom. And let's be honest, it worked. Because fast forward a few years, look at it. We've got location independence. We've got access to global markets. It's lifestyle by design. We've got what it is that we've always wanted. But what we gained in flexibility, we lost in, grounding, if you like. We solved our lifestyle problems, sure. But now we're sucking at a whole lot of other things, like meaning. Why does this all feel so meaningless now? Connection, maybe. Why am I feeling so lonely? And other weird and wonderful challenges like, what is my gender this week? Spoiler alert, you can't enter a meaning-driven life using escapist strategies. Gosh, I wish somebody told me that back a decade ago. Yet that's what most of us are trying to do. I've worked with entrepreneurs, six-figure salespeople, seven-figure business founders, and you know the one thing they all have in common? They can tell me in vivid details exactly, specifically, what it is that they don't want. A lot of it sounds like burnout, stress, toxic clients, dating apps, a London winter. But then when I ask, what is it that you do want? Usually I get a blank stare or some kind of vague answer. When they do give me that vague answer, I go, well, okay, what would that mean to you? And they're not broken. This is not judgment, by the way. They're just using the same old formula I used. And I think most of us are using. Escape what you hate and hope that leads to what it is that you love. But it doesn't. Because if you build a lifestyle purely to avoid that what you don't want, you know what you end up with? You'll end up exactly with what you didn't want. Maybe it's just wrapped in prettier wrapping paper, if you like. So fast forward to 2019, I stopped running, or so I thought I had. I had corporate tech sales, six-figure salary, international travel, European sports car, high-rise apartment, all the beautiful things. And every morning I would wake up with dread. What the fuck am I doing kind of dread? I had hit every external benchmark of success and felt like nothing inside. Well, probably worse than nothing, but nothing. I was empty. So I realized I'd escaped again. But this time I took one thing with me. This time I wanted to be responsible for what I was creating. And let's be real, responsibility is not the sexiest buzzword in the coaching world. But it is the truth. Like as a kid, I reflect, my nickname was Daniel Butt Lawson because I always had a butt. Yeah, but it wasn't my fault. Yeah, but I didn't know. Yeah, but Luke, my brother, he started it. Or they started it. Why? Well, because I didn't want to feel the shame. If I was responsible for creating whatever the shitty situation was, then I was wrong. And wrong equaled bad. It equaled unworthy. It equaled, ouch, internal pain. But I've since learned this. Blame and responsibility are not the same. Responsibility says, yes, you may not be at fault for everything in your life, but you are the one who gets to choose your response. It's like what Stephen Covey says, you are response-able. So here's the first action point I want to share with you. Ask yourself, where am I avoiding responsibility for the outcomes that I say that I want? Here's my story. This is what I did. Don't follow this, by the way. I started a kite brand. It's called Parallax. Spelled with, yes, two X's because, well, branding. Parallax means, a loose definition, when you change your perspective on objects, objects appear to change. They look different. And this became my metaphor for my perspective on life. I believe, perspective is power. Everything is a matter of perspective. And that was, I think, the start. That was the beginning of my actual personal leadership development. Not just talking about values, but being willing to change my story. So maybe yes, you do want to follow that. That's a pretty good insight. Action point number 2 is find someone who can challenge your perspective. And this is really important. I think it's really hard to have your perspectives challenges. A coach, a mentor, a friend, an honest stranger with really good questions. When I moved to Melbourne, I was making $10,000 weeks. I had clients, I was casual dating. I thought I was a big swinging dick entrepreneur of the city. And I was walking, talking, poster boy for freedom as I thought it was. But I was so damn lonely. I forgot to text people back. I didn't know how to actually connect. I had no idea what it meant to be fully seen. But hey, I was free, right? What a joke. Then 2020 happened. And yes, the year of hoarded toilet paper and accidental introspection, if you like. People couldn't leave the house. I couldn't leave my thoughts. That's when I learned something. I realized not choosing to make a decision is still a choice. Repeating the same safe decisions 35,000 times a day doesn't make them yours. It makes them automated. My mentor, Remy Pearson, from the Coaching Institute, she said the number one predictor of success is the ability to navigate uncertainty. Pretty relevant during COVID times, right? Not to avoid it, not to navigate it. Not to avoid it, but to navigate it. And with that in mind, action point number 3 here for you, ask yourself, what do I do when I'm faced with a really hard decision? Whose voice is it that I am really listening to? Be curious to hear who it is. So what I did is I escaped again during the time when travel was banned, when travel meant death, especially at this time where I was heading to Bali to live this remote lifestyle dream. But here is what I found. A whole island of expert escape artists. Just like me, I found my people. We all called it freedom. Maybe it was just a well-funded avoidance strategy. Everyone had their story. I hate my job. I don't like my country. It's amazing. It's cheaper than where I'm from. I just needed to get away. Same script, it was just a different setting. Whatever the story was that they inserted. But this is what I discovered, is when you remove all responsibility, the mundane responsibility, cooking, cleaning, doing the deadlines of life or whatever it is, all you're left with is yourself. And that's really, really tough. That's when shit gets real. Eventually, for me, it cracked me open. I didn't do the drugs and the dating, well, I did a little bit, the dating and the nightclubs and everything else, the drinking. I just realized everywhere I went, there I am. I was the constant in all my problems and all my escapism. All the pain, all the fear, all the confusion I thought I'd left behind, still there. Freedom is not out there. Freedom is not a geography. Freedom, it's not a lifestyle even. Freedom is the byproduct of facing yourself, coming clean of your untold truths. And until you do that, well, you're fucked. I'm sorry. So my journey has been survival, to rebellion, to achievement, to emptiness, to perspective, now to intention. And that last one changed everything. Because once I started designing my life from the inside out, I felt like I belonged everywhere. Business flowed with ease. People wanted to be around me for the first time in my life. That was incredible. Not because I was interesting, but because I was present. I was present to them in the ability to connect. And here's the one that I'm most proud of. I attracted, well, I didn't know it at the time, but the woman of my dreams, Louisa. Not because I got lucky, but because I got real. So I'd love to give you a sexy 3-step framework. I'd love to promise you Bali sunsets, emotional breakthroughs in 21 days. But the truth is, this work, it's messy. It's not glamorous. It is for the courageous. And most people will avoid it a little bit longer. And if that's where you are, that's okay. But for those of you that are watching this, who feel the pull, if you're ready to stop escaping and start leading with intention, on purpose, that's where it begins. This is where it begins. So I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to hear the parts of you that most people will avoid. Now, my final comment, go personal leadership yourself.